Hi, and welcome to Domain 9 of MicroSolutions Manufacturer's Guide to CMMC 2.0. Today, we're going to be talking about personnel security. So let's start off with the simplest way to think about it. Access should change when people change. That's it. That single idea explains why this domain exists. Let's break it down a bit further. People don't stay static inside a business. They get hired, they change roles, they take on new responsibilities, wear new hats, as we say, and eventually they leave. Every one of those moments changes what the person should be trusted with. Personnel security exists to make sure trust, access, and responsibility stay aligned as those things continue to happen, without slowing the business down. In manufacturing environments, this matters even more. You onboard people quickly to keep production moving. Roles often overlap. Someone might wear 3 hats in the first year, and turnover, especially in certain positions, is a reality. This domain's not about questioning people's character. It's about recognizing that risk increases during transitions, not during steady-state work. Most security problems tied to people don't come from bad intent. They come from moments of change that weren't fully accounted for. That's the frame we'll use for the rest of this conversation. Let's get clear about what personnel security actually governs. At its core, this domain focuses on how people are authorized, informed, and transitioned throughout their time with the organization. It's about making sure people understand their responsibilities, their system access matches their role, and that changes are handled deliberately, not informally, or ad hoc as you've heard along the way. Just as important as what this domain is what it is not. It's not about assuming employees are threats or invasive background investigations beyond what's reasonable, and it's certainly not about slowing down hiring or creating HR bottlenecks. Personnel security is not suspicion-based, it's process-based. The intent is quite simple. When someone's role changes, their access should change with it. When someone leaves, access should be removed consistently and quickly. And when someone joins, expectations should be clear from day one. This is about role-based trust management, not control. Before thinking about policies or evidence, it helps to break down a few grounded questions. Not to score yourself, just to understand your current reality. First, do people have access based on their current role or their historical role? Second, when someone's onboarded, are security expectations clearly communicated or just assumed? Third, when roles change, promotions, department shifts, added responsibilities, does anyone formally review the access? Fourth, when someone leaves the organization, is offboarding handled the same way every time? And fifth, are responsibilities and expectations documented in a way that survives staff turnover? These aren't trick questions. Most organizations answer sometimes to at least a few of them. That's quite normal, and it's exactly why this domain exists. From an assessment perspective, personnel security is not about perfection. Assessors generally look for consistency and intent, not complexity. They want to see that you have a defined onboarding and offboarding process. They want to see role changes trigger some form of review. Access should align with responsibilities, and transitions should be handled the same way every time. To put it plainly, evidence might look like an onboarding checklist that includes security acknowledgments, a role description tied to access levels, documented offboarding step that confirms access removal, and records showing that these steps actually happened. Evidence, evidence, evidence. It doesn't need to be elaborate, it needs to be repeatable and defensible. In real manufacturing environments, a few patterns show up again and again. Access that lingers after role changes, informal onboarding where security is never explicitly discussed, and delays during employee exits because people are busy or roles overlap. None of this comes from negligence, it comes from growth, from trust, from time pressure, from prioritizing production, which of course makes sense. Personnel security gaps usually reflect operational success, not failure, but success without structure can quietly introduce risk. That's why this domain is designed to stabilize. A mature personnel security posture feels calm. Onboarding's predictable. People know exactly what's expected of them. And access matches responsibility. When roles change, access gets reviewed, not questioned, just confirmed. When someone leaves, offboarding happens cleanly and consistently. There's confidence that people have what they need to do their job and nothing that they don't. That clarity reduces friction. At a practical level, improvement usually happens in 4 areas: procedures, people, technology, and evidence. From a procedure standpoint, we just need simple onboarding, role change, and offboarding checklists. People, we require clear coordination between HR, IT, and leadership so transitions don't fall through the cracks. Technology, we need systems that support role-based access and easy changes, described at a high level, not tool-specific. From an evidence standpoint, we need signed acknowledgments, completed checklists, and occasional access reviews. None of this requires heavy bureaucracy. It requires intentional follow-through and evidence. Personnel security doesn't stand alone. It's one of 14 domains in CMMC. It directly supports access control, authentication, and auditability across the entire CMMC program. The ebook walks through how these people-centered processes connect to the broader compliance structure, step by step, without overwhelming detail. It's a way to see how small, consistent actions support the whole system. Personnel security isn't about control. It's about clarity. When transitions are managed well, risks drop naturally. Not because trust is removed, but because trust is properly aligned. Clear processes protect the business, the team, and the work itself. That's the goal of this domain. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you found it useful and you're ready to take things further, please be sure to see our implementation guide. We'll see you on the next domain.